There's nothing I really can say. I just want him back. He was funny. He would always make other people laugh. Just hurts knowing that I won't be able to see him again.
Mischievous little young man that was always having fun and laughing, always had a smile ear to ear, and was his dad's little man.
Family members of 12-year-old Peter Dott braving the cameras after his father made a heartbreaking tribute online.
My baby boy has grown his wings this afternoon and left me so heartbroken. I would do anything in this world just to have him back.
Loving words too for the other young lives lost.
Zane was such a beautiful, caring, gentle soul.
She was always such a kind, sweet old soul.
12-year-olds Jai Sheehan and Jalayla Jane Marie Jones also killed in the tragedy.
It's devastating, heartbreaking. It's just simply incomprehensible.
What should have been an end-of-year celebration for Devonport's Hillcrest Public School turned deadly in an instant yesterday. A gust of wind picking up a jumping castle, hurling it some 10 metres into the air with multiple children on board.
Police understand there were close to 40 Year 5 and 6 students taking part in the end-of-term activities when this incident occurred.
I grew up in Devonport and I also actually used to live behind Hillcrest Primary School. It's just the most awful thing before Christmas time. Honestly, I think we're all in shock. It's just awful.
As the state coroner visited the site, everyone had one big question on their mind. Was the jumping castle tethered to the ground?
That forms part of the investigation. We need to continue our investigation on behalf of the coroner and also with WorkSafe Tasmania.
Police revealing very few new details, but seemingly suggesting Zorb balls also thrown into the air may have been empty.
The majority of those injured were in the jumping castle. We need to piece the movements of the individuals together so we can present a full picture to the coroner.
We appreciate everything that everyone's doing. We're not the only one that's hurting, and we know that.
For now, 5 families face a Christmas with one less stocking by the fireplace.
Oh, it's just so heartbreaking, and I can't imagine, and I can't even fathom the loss that those families and the community are actually experiencing. And as a mum, explaining it to your child when it makes no sense to you, it just makes absolutely no sense. But gosh, we are thinking of them in Tassie.
Yeah, look, everyone is, and including the children that are now fighting for their lives as well. You know, you just hope that they pull through.
Absolutely devastating. And Reverend Fiona Morrison from Devonport's Uniting Church has been hosting vigils for the community. Reverend, it's been another tough day and still very few answers. How are people coping?
I think at this stage people are not really expecting answers. They're just reeling in shock and the wonder of how this can happen. Just, how can we lose children in a community that are really wanting to grow and to see them become adults and open their presents on Christmas Day.
Yeah, I understand that several parents from the school community have spoken to you. What did they say?
It was just this feeling of, the scariness of turning up at the school yesterday and not knowing if their child was one of the children who were being rushed away in a helicopter or an ambulance, or if they had been found, or the relief of it when they found their child, or the despair when they could not find their child. Yeah,
have any that you've spoken to been able to shed some light on what happened in this tragedy?
Some children have shared their stories and some parents who are here, but they're really disjointed and they're just so mixed up about how they're feeling, and so they've actually asked for those stories not to be shared yet because they're not ready for them to go out into the world as such.
Reverend, how are you helping those in mourning?
What we've done is we've opened up our church as a safe space for people just to gather, especially yesterday when they weren't allowed here at the school because the emergency services were here, and just for them to sit, to share their story, to be in silence, to offer them a cuppa, to receive a hug, to be with other friends, for children to tell their stories to other children and compare, and for parents to do the same. and it's just a safe space away from everybody else watching. And it's, you know, they can light a candle or they can just be. It's up to them what they want.
Reverend, this has sent shockwaves around the country and the world. What would you say to people who are struggling to process this news?
I think one of the things we want to say is be there to support each other. This is a time when we are reminded that we need each other as human beings, that we need to support each other and be kind to each other, and that we don't go through these things alone. That even though this impacts a particular school and a particular set of families, its repercussions and ripples affect all of us as a community and as a world, and that we are all part of that story and that we are not alone.
Understandably, everyone right around the country are thinking about the children as well as their parents. You're talking to a lot of the people in the community. Reverend, how are you going?
I think also in shock, and just at this moment you just keep going and you just keep listening and knowing that I'm also not alone, that, you know, we have a team of people who are there and we are all supporting each other and making sure that we can take little breaks, and reminded that your heart keeps beating even in the midst of all this and it feels like it's broken. Your heart is still beating for these children and these families.
Reverend, you and the community, you're all in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me and for sharing our story.
People are understandably wondering how they can help. A suggestion from one of the emergency doctors who was treating the injured on the scene was to give blood. They had a shortage. They ran out of blood, apparently, at the time. So that was their suggestion, and it's good advice for anyone that does want to try to help.